So we are just ignoring a very key skill in life which can actually save our life at some point of time.
GST of 18% on sports.
Gyms were not non-existent in India. Metros में ये culture आया gym का, and suddenly it became cool. Culture penetrated through metros to smaller towns.
US में
इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट 40 करोड़ की सैलरी उनको मिल रही
and
है.
that's a base salary. NFL is the biggest sport. 35 college coaches, they get paid 5 million as a base salary, and then based on performance you can get more. Some of them even earn 11 million as a base salary. With the surge of AI, the boom of AI and the panic, do you think it will create an impact in the sports industry?
AI can definitely assist a coach. AI can't replace a coach.
वी स्टिल लुक फॉर मिरेकल्स. हमें कहीं पे कुछ ओलंपिक मेडल मिल जाए. हमने इस चीज को कभी एक इंडस्ट्री बनने ही नहीं दिया है. हमने इसको अभी इतना ब्यूरोक्रेटिक कंट्रोल में इन सारी चीजों को डाल रखा है कि इंस्टेड ऑफ अ वेरी सिस्टम ड्रिवन अप्रोच कि एक मशीन की तरह काम करता है. स्कूल से कुछ बच्चे निकल रहे हैं, कॉलेज से कुछ बच्चे निकल रहे हैं, फिर वो स्टेट रैंकिंग्स खेल रहे हैं, ऑल इंडिया रैंकिंग्स खेल रहे हैं. मशीन काम करे हर साल, जिससे कि हमें पता है कि इस मशीन से अब मिरेकल की जरूरत नहीं है, अपने आप मेडल्स थ्रो करेगा.
Has to improve from the grassroots level. India में college sports is dead.
China has 42 lakh sports centers. US has roughly 3.5 lakh sports centers. India has 8,000 sports centers. This is a disturbing fact which haunts everybody at Machaxi. In fact, one of the reasons why we started Machaxi was this very disturbing fact. Hi everyone, I am Pratish, co-founder of Machaxi. Alongside with me today, I have two amazing people, Ashish and Tushar, both again co-founders of Machaxi. We started Machaxi way back in July of 2022 with just first center. Today we are operating 35 plus sports centers in Bangalore across sporting formats. Today we have started Play More, Live More podcast, and this is our attempt to drive the sporting culture of India. This is not about winning medals. This is not about fitness. This is not about movement. It is just about building a sports culture. And today, I want to really talk my heart out with Tushar and Ashish, both of you, to understand what will it take, different nuances of it. There could be aspects around, how different countries in the world actually build sporting culture in their respective countries. What are the problems that India faces? What will it take for us to really become a sporting culture, both in terms of timelines, resources, money, etc. So I think this we just wanted to start with this podcast session with both of you. So maybe Tushar, I will start with you to understand why do you think this gap exists, this wide gap exists between India, China, and US in terms of purely sporting infrastructure?
So I feel that the problem is not with the land or the money. The problem lies in the priority. We have never prioritized sports. So, say schools have exams, but they do not focus on training. Sports has always been, say, an extracurricular and as seen as an activity rather than seen as a priority or something that is necessary. Some insights and to dive deep into your data, the total approximate population of kids in India between age 6 to 18 is about 33 crores, and per center we have about 3,30,000 kids.
Wow.
Waiting. I would say waiting because it's exclusion. It's
Right.
impossible to train,
Right.
right? Or to even allow them play, right? So that's
What do you
how-
think? What is the maximum number of kids one sports center can handle? Say a 5-court badminton center.
About 100 max if you push, say 150, 200.
Okay, and
that's the max.
As per the current stats, roughly 3.5 lakh kids. So we have one sports center for 3.5 lakh kids in India. Wow, and can only accommodate 100 kids. Wow, that's a telling stat. Okay, what do you think can bring that change? So I wanted to actually take you into a different direction. So, for example, I think India has built schools, right? India has built hospitals. As you said, India has built. So I think it has been a matter of priority. But if a center can, if a sports center can actually be a viable profit-making business, why is it that most entrepreneurs in most cities have shied away from building infrastructure? Like if for example, let's say opening a 6 court badminton center costs us maybe 1.2 crores, और अगर मुझे इन्वेस्टमेंट का रिटर्न आ जाता है तो बहुत लोग बना चुके होते, तो इशू क्या है, क्यों नहीं बना है अभी तक?
I think the core issue is not from the investors or entrepreneurs. It is also about the mindset or the culture that is not existing at the moment, especially in, say, the tier 2 cities. Right? Say in Bangalore or, say, other metros. It already exists. People have now become aware, much more aware, that they need to send their kids to certain sports, engage them into certain sports, train them there, or even pursue as a career option. But in other cities, still, I think the parents are unaware, and that culture is not yet built, or the culture does not even exist. One good thing that has happened is that now we have the infrastructure can be built modular, that we do not have to build a permanent structure of RCC. So it is a nut and bolt structure, complete structure. So people usually are now taking up a land for lease about, say, 10, 12 years, building a nice sports center and making good money out of it. But,
Right.
But yeah, that sporting culture. And what also happens is that, see, in these small towns, typically the population that exists is about is more of non-youth, I would say below, I would say 20, or say more than, say, 40. But the between 20 and 40, the educated crowd is still missing in these smaller towns, which contributes a lot to the sports centers revenue. So that again, say, is a problem.
Right. So you're saying, okay, so I think you raise an important point, so which means that in a lot of these places, tier 2 towns, rural areas, etc., where probably the middle income educated youth who actually wants to play sports, probably the percentage of a population is very low. And so therefore the demand, the natural demand in these towns is not there.
Yeah.
But I think the kids are still there. So I think there is, like, apart from the infrastructure problem, I think there's definitely a problem in the culture itself, right? Like, I think even the parents perhaps still do not want to send their kids for training sports. Maybe it's a purchasing power issue. Like, do you feel enough Indian parents have enough income कि वो महीने का 2,000 या 2,500 अपने बच्चे के स्पोर्ट्स ट्रेनिंग पे खर्च करने के लिए रेडी रहें इन कंट्रीज इन स्टेट्स में?
I feel, and by the way, it's an intuition or a hunch that smaller towns also have that spending capacity. But again, I would want to take you back to, say, 2000, early 2000s, where gyms were not non-existent in India, and suddenly gyms came in metros. And उस टाइम पे अगर छोटे शहरों में कोई बोलता कि मेरे पास एक जगह है, वहाँ पे आओ, थोड़ा कसरत करो, एंड हम आप और मुझे 1,000 या 1,500 दे दो, तो शायद लोग मारते. बट मेट्रोज में ये कल्चर आया जिम का, एंड सडनली इट बिकेम कूल, एंड कसरत बिकेम वर्कआउट, एंड नाउ इट हैज़ बिकम an important part of everybody's life almost. So
Yeah.
that culture penetrated through metros to smaller towns, and then people became aware, that this has to be done. This has to be a part of my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So now when metros have started, the parents in metros have started sending their kids for a recreational activity. I feel that very soon the other cities or the tier 2 cities will start following
Picking up.
or yeah.
Okay, no, makes sense. So I think that actually also brings me to the next topic of discussion, which is primarily around why has China and US done so phenomenally well over the last 25-30 years, and what is that lesson that India can really learn if we were to actually become a sporting powerhouse. And maybe I can take you guys through some of the research that I have done on this topic, and please feel free to chip in whenever you feel that there's something that I'm missing in this whole story. So अगर मैं यूएस से स्टार्ट करूं तो यूएस का ना एक बहुत ही बढ़िया K-12 सिस्टम है. बेसिकली किंडर गार्डन से लेके 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक, जैसे हम इंडिया में बोलते हैं, उनका K-12 सिस्टम है. सो प्राइमरी स्कूल में डिवाइड करूं, मीडियम स्कूल में डिवाइड करूं और हाई स्कूल में डिवाइड करूं, राइट. इन तीनों सेगमेंट्स ऑफ स्कूलिंग में मैं देखूं तो प्राइमरी स्कूल में ऑलमोस्ट हर यूएस के स्कूल में स्पोर्ट्स इंटीग्रेटेड करिकुलम में भी होता है और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वाइज भी होता है. तो एक 6 साल के बच्चे के लिए या 7 साल के बच्चे के लिए उनका स्कूल ही पहला स्पोर्ट्स स्टेडियम होता है. फिर उसके बाद वो बच्चा वो वहीं से सीख लेता है कि मुझे खेलना जैसे तुमने बोला था तुषार कि वो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर है, राइट. इंडिया में एक प्रायोरिटी नहीं है, वहाँ पे एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर की तरह दिखाते ही नहीं है. वहाँ पर ये बोला जाता है कि ये आफ्टर स्कूल भी अगर आप स्पोर्ट्स खेल रहे हो तो वो आपके करिकुलम का ही पार्ट है, राइट. तो वो एक कल्चर वहीं पर इनग्रेन हो जाता है उनमें. उसके बाद फिर बच्चा मीडियम स्कूल में जाता है.
Just comparing it with the systems that we have in India. So at the moment, I'm unaware the schooling system, but when I was a child and I was in a DAV school, तो extra curriculum में we used to do Havan. By the way, I'm not against any religious activities
Wednesdays
happening.
and Saturdays.
Yes, so it was Saturdays and maybe say Thursdays. We used to do Havan for a complete 1.5 hours. And although maybe say it creates a good vibe, it infuses or implants good culture or good values in the child. But my question still would be that why
not
that
sports?
Why would sports, or why shouldn't that child be playing sports rather? Because sports can then teach n number of other developments in that child can happen through sports.
Yeah, it actually again comes down to priority.
Butting in because same DAV. So Dharm Shiksha was part of the education,
Yeah.
and there used to be a PT class definitely, but there would mostly not be a teacher. You'll get a ball or football, go play by yourself, right? So it's coming back to the culture of everything. What you're saying about US is pretty true, and same is with China. China has a one nation policy with sports.
Sorry, but before we move to China, I really want to finish my thought on this US sports ecosystem. So I was just telling you guys that एक तो उनका K-12 स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम बना दिया कि किंडरगार्टन से 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक हर मोमेंट पर स्पोर्ट्स उनके करिकुलम का भी पार्ट है और उनको उससे एक करियर अपॉर्चुनिटी भी मिलता है. अब मैं वो एक्चुअली आप कैसे वो करियर अपॉर्चुनिटी और कैसे वो सिस्टम यूएस ने बिल्ड किया है. तो यूएस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड NCAA, राइट. दैट इज देयर नेशनल commission for athletic association, and it's a massive it's a not for profit organization, but it's a massive organization, right. Almost to the tune of वो $4 billion almost पकड़ लो 30 से 35 हजार करोड़ साल का सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स पर खर्च कर रहे हैं, राइट. अब उन्होंने ये सिस्टम बनाया कैसे? तो NCAA के अंदर 3 स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं. एक जो एक बच्चा 11th या 12th स्टैंडर्ड में होता है, उसको कॉलेज में एडमिशन चाहिए. हर बच्चा जो 11th या 12th स्टैंडर्ड में किसी ना किसी कॉलेज में एडमिशन लेगा, राइट. तो पहला स्टेक होल्डर हो गया वो बच्चा. दूसरा स्टेक होल्डर हो गया जिस कॉलेज में वो बच्चा एक्चुअली एडमिशन लेगा. हमारे केस में फॉर एग्जांपल IIT, NIT, VIT, SRM एटसेट्रा. उनके केस में इट कुड बी बर्कली यूनिवर्सिटी और व्हाटएवर, हार्वर्ड एटसेट्रा. तो दूसरा स्टेक होल्डर हो गया जो कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटी में बच्चे को एडमिशन लेना है. तीसरा स्टेक होल्डर NCAA इटसेल्फ, राइट. तो अब ये लोग क्या करते हैं कि NCAA एक एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया रखता है. बाय द वे, this eligibility criteria of students is not just for sports एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट, वो एलिजिबिलिटी टेस्ट में आपने 12th में कितना मार्क्स 80% ऑब्टेन किया है कि नहीं, आपने आपकी फिजिकल एबिलिटी क्या है, आपकी एथलेटिक एबिलिटी क्या है, ये सारी चीज़ों को देखकर NCAA आपको एलिजिबल करता है कि आप जब कॉलेज में एडमिशन ले रहे हो तो आप स्कॉलरशिप के लिए एलिजिबल हो कि नहीं। और ये बहुत ही ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ बहुत ही स्ट्रिक्टली मॉनिटर करके ये एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया रखा जाता है।
How is it different from, say, some of our colleges having sports quota?
Primary
No, it's
difference
very-
I'll say is, first of all, like Pratish mentioned, it's non-profit. So there's no government involved there, right? Second, before the NCE also, there's divisions, Division 3, Division 2 and Division 1.
नहीं, NCAA actually runs all of this Division 1,
They
Division
run
2,
it,
Division
they
3.
run it, definitely. So that career progress starts from there itself, not even from 12th, way before that. And then you get graded into different divisions as you win.
I think probably I've just allow me to make my point. What I'm not trying to get into is कि उनको ओलंपिक मेडल कैसे आता है।
हाँ, no,
Right?
of course not.
मैं यूएस का वो सिस्टम डाइव डीप करना चाह रहा हूँ जिससे कि वो स्पोर्टिंग कल्चर बन जाता है, राइट। लेट्स से कि मैं एक नॉर्मल बच्चा हूँ, राइट, मैंने इंडिया में 12th स्टैंडर्ड में 80% मार्क्स लाया, राइट, एंड मैं डिसेंट हूँ खेलने में, राइट, मैं अच्छा क्रिकेट खेलता हूँ, डिसेंट खेलता हूँ, हो सकता है मैं IPL ना खेलूँ या हो सकता है मैं इंडियन टीम में ना जाऊँ, बट मैं डिसेंट खेलता हूँ, एथलेटिक बॉडी है मेरी, आई कैन रन enough, I will be enough, this will be enough for me to meet the NCAA eligibility criteria. अब जो यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं यूएस में, ऑलमोस्ट कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज, लेट्स से रफली अबाउट 6000 कॉलेजेस है वहाँ पे, रफली 2 करोड़ के आसपास हर साल एडमिशन्स होते हैं, ठीक है। उस 2 करोड़ में 1%, रफली 2 लाख सीट्स एनुअली, ठीक है, NCAA उसको फुल्ली फंड कर देता है। आपका कॉलेज फीस, बोर्डिंग, एकोमोडेशन, फूड, एवरीथिंग इज फुल्ली फंडेड बाय NCAA, राइट। अब ये NCAA कॉलेज को फंड कर रहा है, बच्चे को डायरेक्टली फंड नहीं कर रहा है। तो सारे बच्चे कोशिश ये करते हैं कि मैं एथलेटिक रहूं ताकि वो 1% जो फंड हो रही है सीट्स, उसका स्कॉलरशिप मुझे मिल जाए, क्योंकि कॉलेज एजुकेशन इज एक्सपेंसिव, राइट। तो अगर मेरा पूरा 4 साल का कॉलेज फ्री हो जा रहा है, अगर जस्ट बाई बीइंग स्पोर्टिंग इन नेचर इन माई स्कूल डेज, तो इट्स अ वेरी बिग थिंग, एवरी पेरेंट वांट्स इट, एवरी चाइल्ड हिमसेल्फ वांट इट, राइट। अब NCAA इसको फंड कैसे करता है? NCAA मैसिव कॉलेज लेवल इवेंट्स रन करता है यूएस में। देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड मार्च मैडनेस, which is like a epic championship between colleges of US. So UCLA, Berkeley, etc. And इसके फिर media rights और viewership rights वगैरह sell करता है. They get that fund and then they fund it back to college. So it's a very virtuous cycle जो उन्होंने create कर रखा है.
Right. Just to add on top, I was just reading this very fascinating stat. I think I was telling Tushar before we started. So US में NFL is the biggest sport, right? 35 college coaches, the college level coaches, they get paid $5 million as a base salary.
$5 million.
$5 million as a base salary.
Okay, that is, so basically in Indian context 40 करोड़ की salary उनको मिल
Yes,
रही है.
and that's a base salary. And then based on performance, you can get more. Some of them even earn 11 million as a base salary based on their performance. So it's that massive at the college level. A regular average ticket fees for these matches is $84. And people are buying it, right? So the whole nation itself is a very sports friendly nation in that sense. It has become, right, from teenagers till the elders, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we really lack in,
Right.
right?
Right.
Apart from cricket, maybe, I don't know.
I agree. No, I think we'll get there. We will get there. It's not all doom and gloom. So I think we'll
No,
get there.
definitely.
But just trying to analyze benefit wise, NCAA के benefits को अगर evaluate to what India is doing at the moment, तो India में भी अगर say there's a state top player, he gets a job in say railways or somewhere, but of course that job is very clerical in nature, or it's say I would call a blue collar job. But then a lot of kids also get admissions into private colleges based on their state ranking. So how is this different from NCAA? Because all these students who are getting admissions are most likely sponsored by the college.
I don't think कि इंडिया में कोई स्पोर्ट्स स्पॉन्सरशिप है.
Very small
मे बी टू अ
percentage.
वेरी स्मॉल एक्सटेंट एक कोटा एग्जिस्ट करता है, बट वो कोटा भी इस तरह से कंसिडर्ड है कि वो एक सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर नहीं है, राइट? तो यूएस में 1% ऑफ ऑल कॉलेज एडमिशंस इज गेटिंग फुल्ली फंडेड बाय एनसीडब्ल्यू. तो हर कोई उस स्कॉलरशिप को लेने की कोशिश करता है, राइट? एंड इट डज नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन एकेडमिक्स. सो कोई वो एक्सपेक्टेशन ही नहीं है कि आप सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स में अपना ध्यान दो, राइट? तो पेरेंट्स ऑल्सो आर इंसेंटिवाइज्ड कि सी एवरीबडी नोज कि इन स्पोर्ट्स
And what is the how is NCAA selecting that candidate through sports selection? What is the selection criteria?
That's what I was telling you. There are separate divisions when you start in US schools, right? You'll get into Division 3, then Division 2, Division A based on your performances.
So NCAA में what is the criteria to get selected? जैसे इंडिया में तो यूजुअली क्या होता है कि स्टेट रैंक टॉप से 3 और 5 है, या नेशनल रैंकिंग प्लेयर है, तो टिपिकली उसको कोई ना कोई कॉलेज, एंड अच्छा कॉलेज, स्पोर्ट्स कोटा के थ्रू. बट NCAA में हाउ इज इट डिफरेंट एंड व्हाट आर द डिफरेंसेस जो इंडिया में नहीं हो रहा है अभी?
So NCA में they start tracking the kids' progress from around grade 8 to 9, right? And there are several divisions in NCA, right? Division 1 is the top division. After that, you become a pro, right? So you start performing there, and then as you keep performing, your ranking improves, which kind of helps you to get into different colleges, right? इंडिया में when you say स्टेट रैंक नंबर 1 है उसको मिल ही जाए, I feel that's factually not completely true, because इंडिया में स्पोर्ट्स का एक तो सीट्स कम है कॉलेजेस में, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. सेकेंड, बिकॉज ऑल दी स्पोर्ट्स unfortunately is run by federations, are run by politicians, which is the complete contrast with NCAA. Their politicians or government is not involved. It's a non-profit organization, right? So you might be state ranked number 1 and still not get into a good college. And I may be a district player and I have some good connection, I get into good colleges. So the transparency is lacking.
But I think the another major point, Tushar, there is that sports quota actually rewards some past performance. मैंने स्टेट रैंकिंग नंबर 1 किया, ठीक है, मैं NIT से दुर्गापुर में एडमिशन मिल गया मुझे, राइट? बट व्हाट इज माय इंसेंटिव नाउ टू कंटिन्यू टू परफॉर्म गुड इन बैडमिंटन? देयर इज नो इंसेंटिव लेफ्ट, राइट? NCAA, on the contrary, it rewards continuous performance both of the athlete as well as the colleges itself. अगर दोनों ही components, athlete and college दोनों मिलकर ही अगर अच्छा नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो NCAA की फंडिंग उनके कॉलेज की ड्रॉप हो जाएगी, which is a big economic incentive for those kids. So I think there's a long way to go for India, but I do hope that somewhere we make this change. An institution like NCAA is required to incentivize, and the good part about NCAA is that it is not deprioritizing academics. It is asking kids to give equal priority to academics and sports, make it balanced, and keep moving along. So even if, for example, even if you fail in sports, you still have a great alternative career in US. You are not doomed to work on some low paying salary just because you could not achieve massive excellence in sports. So I think that's one thing which really needs to change in India. Okay, but bringing us all back to some more insightful discussions. Maybe let me ask you guys one more question. That also actually brings me to a very interesting question. What happens to athletes who don't make it big in sports? I think मैं इतने सारे पेरेंट्स से बात करता हूँ, उनसे पूछता भी हूँ कि आप क्यों नहीं फोकस कर रहे हैं बच्चे के स्पोर्ट पे. ये एक क्वेश्चन है जो आई थिंक हर पेरेंट को इंडिया में परेशान करता है. इंटेंट का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आई थिंक every parent in India today wants to promote their kids and to encourage their kids into sports. But ये क्वेश्चन जो है कि अगर स्पोर्ट्स में कुछ बड़ा नहीं कर पाया तो क्या होगा?
राइट. बचपन से शायद हम सब ने सुना है, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब, खेलोगे कूदोगे बनोगे खराब. आई थिंक दैट माइंडसेट was there till a decade back at least, I'll say. Now I feel glad that there's some kind of support from the government and programs like Khelo India, which is kind of helping kids get into sports, where schools are also being supported, especially in metros, I'll say. But it's a start. Having said that, ये concern आज भी है कि a lot of kids are not getting into sports education. So there's now a new whole course that's getting built, right? बट उसके बाद जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी का क्या? मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर लुकिंग फॉर जॉब्स इन दुबई एंड वेरियस अदर कंट्रीज, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड एल्सवेयर, बिकॉज इंडिया में स्टिल दे डोंट नो व्हाट दे एंड अप विद. आई फील countries like we discussed extensively about NCAA, which kind of is also shows how US supports their athletes, you know, and it's not just 1%. I think they support almost top 10% of the athletes by education, by not getting into debt while they are going to college, so that they still have alternate careers. In India, I feel with the recent startups that has come in, right, into sports, there's some opportunities that's being built for them to earn at least a decent lifestyle as a coach. And if you do extremely well, you can go into high performance coaching and do better, right? But still, you read out news every now and then which breaks your heart, like a national level athlete has hung his medals at a cart and selling pani puri, right? So if you don't make it, actually it's a little gloomy in India right now, the way this environment is. Somewhere these athletes needs to be supported, like China has a program where you get public jobs if you do well in sports, and if you cannot continue, you still get a shot at getting a government job. Australia has a program called AIS, which supports their athletes. You know, even if you don't commit to the top 1%, right? So somewhere, even in the jobs, that priority should be given, I feel. But apart from that, as this data grows from 8,000 to 80,000, more and more opportunities will keep coming up.
Also, I would want to say that that most of the jobs are not, say, heavy on theory jobs, right? Say, for example, if whatever I've studied in my college, I'm implementing nothing of it at the moment in my job. Or say, for example, in the past, whatever jobs I've been into, right? So it becomes rather than a function of knowledge, a function of personality. Better your personality is, the better your leadership skills are, the better you are at that job, right? And I can bet my life on it that sports people or these athletes have a much more disciplined, a much more, say,
Right.
a better leadership quality, which can, say, if I compare a BTech degree to a state ranked 1 player, I can vouch that this state ranked 1 player would be better in, say, 90% of the jobs than this BTech degree holder.
Right, but I think we're missing one point here, that a lot of jobs also require technical expertise, right? So while you're talking about more of a non-technical leadership qualities, but jobs like software coding, yes, maybe leadership quality is required there, but mostly people get assessed on their technical ability. But I buy your point that
I've done my BTech. I've seen a lot of folks doing MBA, and what I have understood is, so I did my electrical and electronics engineering, and none of that was used in my coding or technical role. So whatever I learned in the course of my job at, say, XYZ companies, all that information was given by my colleagues, and during the
No,
job,
but-
So Tushar,
during the
just
work, I learned it. I did not learn it during the college life.
I hear you, but
Yeah.
I think the key difference here is that at least you had the aptitude to learn that, and that aptitude gets defined by your ability to understand maths and science, right? So if you have been decent at maths and science, at least you had the ability to quickly learn that. So I don't think we'll be able to ask companies to suddenly change their entire hiring policy.
no, that's where just to butt in, Tushar, that's where I just want to get the clarification. Are you comparing a BTech guy and a state rank one who has no engineering background? I mean, like, he's no degree at all. Okay, but then that's where I think the difference should be. Why would the IT companies hire them as freshers?
Yeah, I mean that I feel. See, it's a big. By the way, it's a big statement that I'm making here. But then this is what I feel, that uh, that athletes already have that mental capability to learn, adapt. We are ignoring that capability that athlete has built over years of training. That his mental capacity or ability is not at the level of a BTech graduate, and this guy who is an athlete, who is an, say, elite athlete, doesn't have the capability now to learn coding or whatever XYZ. By the way, leave, say, technical job at the moment, right? And let's talk about administrative work,
Yeah.
or say leadership positions. Just to give the insights, Mohammad Siraj is also, say, DSP, right? So we are comparing Siraj, who is an elite Indian cricketer, to someone who has cracked IPS exam, and we are saying that work-wise, whatever an IPS trainee or whatever that person had to go through, I'm sure he had to go through a lot. He had to study for, say, 3-4 rigorous years, and then train maybe probably, say, 2-3 years. Cricketing journey.
Do you feel it's the fame of cricket, be it Siraj or Harbhajan Singh?
Yeah.
These guys are outliners, right? They belong to a state. They did well in a tournament.
No,
Harbhajan did
I'm just
well with the
comparing
Australia tournament.
I am not looking at the fame right now. I'm just comparing that in the end, when they say leave cricket, they have to, they are given this role and responsibility also, right? That you are a DSP.
No,
or,
sorry. So sorry. I just want all of us to come
Yeah.
come back to the topic. So are you trying to say? So okay. So you're saying that athletes have great mental capability, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
similar to anybody, be it a BTech guy, MBA guy. They might not have the technical skills, but their mental capability is there. Maybe that is true,
Yeah.
but I don't think companies will ever hire just based on mental capability, right? I think BTech in India is that एक वो बना दिया गया एक
Entry
थ्रेशोल्ड
barrier
कि आप हाँ आप बीटेक हो तो शायद आपको इतनी सारी चीजें तो आती हैं, तो इसलिए आई एम विलिंग टू ट्रस्ट यू एज अ कंपनी कि मैं आपको हायर करूंगा. So I hear your point, but I still don't know. I think maybe none of us have the answer to it, and that's fine. Because NCAA जैसा सिस्टम इंडिया में एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता है, तो शायद आंसर किसी के पास नहीं है.
To have a mix of all parameters, or
Yes, to have a mix of, I think mix of academics plus sports, that makes a solid foundation कि ये बंदा सही है, इसको मैं filter करके hire कर सकता
See
हूँ.
the same state rank number one. If he just has a BTech degree, be it 5.1 or 6.1 or whatever, that makes a difference.
That makes a huge difference. In fact, imagine state rank 1 भी छोड़ो, अगर कर्नाटका state rank 20 भी हो और उसका बीटेक में 5.5 या 6 CGPA भी हो out of 10, I think everyone without even thinking will just blindly go for that candidate. Like they will at least for sure give him the opportunity. The problem is कि उसके पास वो बीटेक है ही नहीं. तो I think ये mix of academics plus sports NCAA की तरह एक हमें वो कल्चर इंडिया में बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा. And we'll have to maybe
Sai has to go that way, which
no,
is
not
not
necessarily.
easy.
Yeah, NCAA is a private body, so I think
But
somebody in India can do that. SAI can maybe enable it, but even a private institution can do it. Okay, anyways, so just moving us along. So let me ask you guys one more question, right? What is the role of sports federations in India? वो क्या करते हैं? We just keep hearing that some politician is in charge of some sports federation. Generally हमें उनके performance metrics नहीं पता, वो क्या perform किए हैं. We generally know कि कोई bureaucrat is heading that sports federation. So if you can, maybe one of you can give us some sense of what do these federations do, how have they typically performed in India, and globally if we compare these federations, then उनका structure क्या होता है?
70% of federations in India are run by politicians. So power defines position and not performance. So I'll try to compare it again with US. So US has USOPC, United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Again, completely run by ex-athletes. And the way it should, because they understand the nerve of that particular sport. Unfortunately, in India, that is not the case. And most of our federations are governed by and run by these politicians.
I have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
What is the role of these federations in India? Like, I think most people in India don't understand कि ये federation को करना क्या है, वो करते क्या हैं. Like for example, badminton federation, state badminton federation, इनका क्या काम है? What are they supposed to do?
So what they are supposed to do, and what they are actually doing. So what they are supposed to do is bring structure, LTAD programs, that is long-term athlete development programs, or in developing, say, infrastructures, and say allocating coaches, and creating the entire pipeline, right from grassroots coaching to state ranking tournaments to national ranking tournaments, etc. Scout the real talent and send them for international tournaments as well. ये फेडरेशन का काम है मोटा मोटा. बट अभी क्या होता है कि जो पैसा आया, अभी उसमें अकाउंटेबिलिटी नहीं है कि इतना पैसा आया, मान लो 50 करोड़ आया, तो ये जाना चाहिए XYZ नंबर ऑफ एथलीट्स के डेवलपमेंट पे, और उसमें से 5 करोड़ ही गया. वो बाकी का पैसा चला गया लॉन्ग टर्म पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट में. तो दैट इज हाउ in India it is functioning right. Funds are not getting utilized or allocated where I mean, funds are not getting routed where they should be. And so we don't need ribbon cutters, we need visionaries.
See, the other thing, what happens is, I feel, amount of money these people get, the accountability is lacking. Let's say badminton gets 50 crore, which means money has been pulled out from some other sport, maybe wrestling, maybe any other sport. Now, if badminton has not done well, there's no accountability here, right? While that's not the case elsewhere with a sports-friendly nation. If you don't do well, either you are moved, you need to go, or the funding kind of gets cut, right? So that's the other challenge. Irrespective of the results, it keeps going on.
Right.
And actually it will be very interesting to understand how did we solve this problem in cricket. Is it because of so much of viewership that BCCI has become the richest body, or
Yeah.
how did we solve this federation ka problem and actually
No, I think cricket is a
get rid
different
of-
cricket is a different beast altogether right now. See, I don't think it is any longer about federation in cricket in India anymore. It's completely, the money gets generated through IPL, the money gets generated through Indian cricket teams' achievements. so the federation in itself is like a very small part of a very large thing in cricket. In other sports, the sport itself is not so rich, right? Like viewership बहुत कम है. I'm pretty sure मतलब लक्ष्य सेन का semi-final match in Olympics, if you just compare it with a simple IPL league match, तो भी शायद कहीं stand नहीं करेगा, right? तो viewership कम है, no doubt about it. That is exactly where the role of a federation actually needs to become stronger. It should not become weaker, because if the sport already has low viewership, और अगर उस स्पोर्ट का फेडरेशन भी इतना वीक है, तो वो स्पोर्ट्स की डेवलपमेंट तो कभी हो ही नहीं सकती, राइट? सो आई थिंक आई हियर यू एंड आई एम fully agree to your point.
At least what I feel has improved is the support for the elite athletes, like Lakshya Sen or Sindhu. I
Yeah.
think the government have spent crores, and I think Padukone sir also came out and said like now the players cannot complain about not getting support.
Right.
Right.
No, I think that's true. So I think with the top scheme, which is Target Olympic Podium scheme, at an elite level, I think the funding is there on par with anybody across the world. So which is great. I think the problem that
I'll broadly try to classify the two problems. Problem number one is that the funding gets routed elsewhere, is what most of the people say in the industry. And problem number two is that the politicians who are governing these federations are not having the vision, and of course they will not, because they are not ex-athletes, to bring structure. Right? So there are two problems. First problem is funding problem, and the second problem is that that person is a politician and not an ex-athlete.
yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Do we need sports federations? What will happen if the sports federations like बंद कर दें इनको, तो क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा?
You still need a governing body to manage things. Let's say there's no federation tomorrow. Who conducts the tournaments? Who conducts the rankings?
कौन सा टूर्नामेंट?
Let's say just for badminton, we just had ranking tournaments, right?
Yeah.
That was conducted. Now, how do you know where you stand? If
No,
everybody
but
starts
my
creating their own
point
thing.
is, एक second, sorry, I really want to stress on this point. एक टूर्नामेंट तो कोई भी होस्ट करा देगा. टूर्नामेंट होस्ट कराने में
No,
ऐसी क्या बड़ी बात
it's
है?
not just the tournament. When we say this kid or that kid is all India ranked number 1, data based onto some federation which is conducting the
नहीं
tournament.
आई हियर यू. आई एम सेइंग कि फेडरेशन ने मल्टीपल टूर्नामेंट्स कराए, उसके बेसिस पर एक बच्चे को बैडमिंटन में या स्विमिंग में या लॉन टेनिस में या टेबल टेनिस में एक रैंकिंग दिया. अभी ये इस कैटेगरी में रैंक 1 पे, राइट?
Right.
व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज कि अगर फेडरेशन का काम सिर्फ इतना ही सा है, वो तो आप किसी भी प्राइवेट बॉडी को दे सकते हो जो कि वो टूर्नामेंट और इवेंट्स करा लेगा.
Yeah.
लाइक माय पॉइंट इज कि अगर वो फेडरेशन, अगर लेट्स से स्विमिंग फेडरेशन की बात करें इंडिया की, राइट, हिस्ट्री में हम ओलंपिक मेडल टच ही नहीं कर पाए. ओलंपिक मेडल छोड़ो, आई थिंक जो 10 लोग 10 लेन में एक साथ स्विमिंग करने जाते हैं, उसमें से शायद हम लास्ट लेन पे होते हैं. कई बार तो हमें उसमें पार्टिसिपेट ही करने का मौका नहीं मिलता. तो अगर हमारे स्विमिंग फेडरेशन का परफॉर्मेंस इतना खराब है, तो वो एग्जिस्ट क्यों करते हैं? उससे फ़ायदा ही क्या हो रहा है इंडिया को? और हम जो भी पैसा स्विमिंग फेडरेशन को दे रहे हैं, वो गवर्नमेंट क्यों दे रही है?
Probably to look for outliners like Neeraj Chopra, who might come once in a while winning on Olympics. We don't have the system
That
for
is
sure.
exactly the problem, right? So I was actually thinking, last week, इंडिया में प्रॉब्लम क्या है अभी कि इंडिया में वी स्टिल लुक फॉर मिरेकल्स. कुछ तो ऑसम हो जाए और स्पोर्ट्स से एक मिरेकल निकल के आ जाए और हमें कहीं पे कुछ ओलंपिक मेडल मिल जाए, राइट? बट हमने इस चीज को कभी एक इंडस्ट्री बनने ही नहीं दिया है.
Correct.
एक प्राइवेट फॉर प्रॉफिट इंडस्ट्री, एक ऐसा इंडस्ट्री जहां पर व्यूअरशिप है, जहां पर चीजें ट्रांसपेरेंट हैं, जहाँ पर चीज़ें अकाउंटेबल हैं. अगर आप परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे हो तो आप पैसा कमाना आपका कम हो जाएगा, स्लोली आप आउट ऑफ बिजनेस हो जाओगे. हमने इसको अभी इतना ब्यूरोक्रेटिक कंट्रोल में इन सारी चीज़ों को डाल रखा है कि like we will just have to keep looking for miracles instead of a very system driven approach कि एक मशीन की तरह काम करता है. स्कूल से कुछ बच्चे निकल रहे हैं, कॉलेज से कुछ बच्चे निकल रहे हैं, फिर वो स्टेट रैंकिंग्स खेल रहे हैं, ऑल इंडिया रैंकिंग्स खेल रहे हैं, और वो एक मशीन काम करे हर साल, जिससे कि हमें पता है कि इस मशीन से अब मिरेकल की जरूरत नहीं है, वो सिस्टम अपने आप medals throw करेगा.
Has to improve from the grassroots level. India में college sports is dead. There's nothing like college sports in India, which is in complete contrast to the
what
sporting
US
nation.
does. Yes.
Right. So if the support starts from there, if the colleges also come in and participate, and more importantly, citizens have to see it, because everything is economics, right?
Yeah.
If there's nobody watching it, and WNBA also does not work, right?
Yeah.
So if people start watching it, and the support starts from the college level itself or the school level itself, I think then we can transform into a really sports nation.
Government has recently launched the new Khelo India policy. The cabinet recently cleared this policy. The intent of the policy is fabulous. It touches upon a lot of good things within this policy. But one thing which still hurts everyone, and I really want to get into this topic in a big way, is GST of 18% on sports. Like, अगर मुझे स्विमिंग, अपने बच्चे को स्विमिंग सिखाना है एज अ मिडिल क्लास इंडियन, मुझे 18% टैक्स स्लैब में फॉल करना पड़ रहा है. Which means it is still being treated even by the government as luxury and not a necessity. जबकि swimming एक life skill है. It is no lesser than learning maths and science. जितना हम maths और science पर focus करते हैं, I think swimming को अगर ignore कर रहे हैं तो we are just ignoring a very key skill in life which can actually save our life at some point of time. I actually wanted to bring up this topic with both of you. Why do you think the government has not taken a notice so far, and what needs to change for the government to probably make sports exempt or at least lower the tax slab?
First of all, I'll say that it's a complete oversight from the government's part when you launch schemes like Khelo India and you say no, it's a luxury to still play sports in India. The messaging does not go well, right? Second, I feel anything that needs to be changed with governments requires a lot of push, a lot of sound, or a lot of lobbying so that the message goes across. Right now, I don't think sports is so united. Like, all the companies, all the people who are into sports are so united to present a unified front and tell the government, while you're saying Khelo India, it's costing me 18% GST to play. Right, so I think that's lagging.
Or maybe they are even unaware that such an industry even exists.
Yeah, I think I agree to that point of view. So interestingly, during the service tax regime, sports coaching was completely exempt. Suddenly, when it changed to GST, it became 18%, and I think no one complained because ना कोई GST collect कर रहा था, ना कोई GST pay कर रहा था. So I think the policy structure somewhere is.
I feel it would have made waves if the schools were asked to pay 18% GST.
Oh yes, absolutely.
If I'm going to swimming in school,
yes,
I'm not paying any GST.
Yes.
Right. But if I'm going to a professional academy, I'm paying 18% GST.
Yeah. No, I think that's relevant. But actually, I also want to look at this topic from a infrastructure ROI lens. So for example, let's say अगर मुझे एक टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल्ड स्विमिंग पूल आज की डेट में इंडिया में बनाना है, राइट, रफली इट विल कॉस्ट मी एनीवेयर बिटवीन 1 to 1.1 करोड़. मुझे अगर इस 1 to 1.1 करोड़ पे, और मैं परमानेंट स्ट्रक्चर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ एक इंडोर कवर्ड टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल्ड स्विमिंग पूल विच इज़ लाइक टेम्परेरी शेड है, वेयर हाउस टाइप के स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर रहेगा ताकि वो एक टेम्परेरी मॉड्यूलर स्ट्रक्चर है. राइट? तो जनरली लैंड लीज 7-8 ईयर्स या 9 ईयर्स इस टाइप की अवेलेबल होती है, राइट? सो उसी 7-8 साल में, और 7-8 साल के बाद वो स्विमिंग पूल अगर लैंड लीज रिन्यू नहीं हुआ तो वो किसी काम का नहीं है, राइट? सो जो भी बंदा 1 करोड़ का पैसा लगा रहा है टू कंस्ट्रक्ट दिस स्विमिंग पूल, उसको 7-8 साल में पैसा भी चाहिए और रिटर्न भी चाहिए, राइट? विच मीन्स कि बेयर मिनिमम कोई भी बंदा जो भी करंट फाइनेंशियल नॉर्मल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को मोटा मोटा 13-14% के आसपास पे फाइनेंशियल रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिलता है बिजनेस लोन पे, तो अगर मैं उस हिसाब से देखूं तो उसको करीबन कुछ नहीं तो 25 से 27% साल का रिटर्न चाहिए। तब तो वो 4 साल में अपना पैसा रिटर्न करेगा और अगले 3 या 4 साल में पैसा कमाएगा, राइट? वरना वो वही 1 करोड़ म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दे, राइट? अब इस 1 करोड़ में अगर सोचें कि 18% जीएसटी में चला जाता है और 30% कहीं ना कहीं आप इनकम टैक्स में, आपकी जो भी इनकम रहेगी आप एंड ऑफ द डे उस पर इनकम टैक्स दोगे 30% के आसपास।
बट 18% लोग दे नहीं रहे ना।
No, but
मोस्ट लाइकली
you have to think of the right way of running sports, right?
yeah, but most of these infra owners wouldn't be
नहीं, सो बट ओके, आई एम कमिंग टू दैट पॉइंट ओनली। सो क्योंकि अभी अब ओनली वे ऑफ रनिंग दिस स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर कैन बी कि मैं अगर ये 18% गवर्नमेंट को दूं ही ना तो मेरे पास सफिशिएंट प्रॉफिट बचेगा कि मैं 25% मार्जिन अपना साल में बना पाऊं, राइट? अब अगर किसी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर को लेट से इंडिया में एक साथ 1000 स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर्स खोल देने, राइट? तो डिमांड इतना ज्यादा है ही नहीं कि मैं 18% जीएसटी भी अब्सॉर्ब करूं, उस पर 25% मार्जिन भी बनाऊं साल का, एक टेम्पररी स्ट्रक्चर भी बनाऊं और 30% इनकम टैक्स भी दे दूं। ऑर्गेनाइज्ड प्लेयर्स को ये जीएसटी का स्ट्रक्चर मैसिवली डिसइंसेंटिवाइज कर रहा है फ्रॉम गेटिंग इनटू द स्पोर्ट्स इंडस्ट्री। सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट reducing the demand, but organization of this industry is also getting impacted because of this inverted tax structure.
बट आई थिंक गवर्नमेंट को ये तो पता है कि क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने ही निकाला है 18% होना चाहिए, राइट? तो गवर्नमेंट को ये तो पता है कि वो स्पोर्ट्स सर्विस पे 18% चार्ज कर रहे हैं। सो व्हाई डू यू थिंक कि दे आर इवन आफ्टर बीइंग अवेयर and being aware more than of course what we are aware कि health benefits क्या हैं etc sports के and grassroots पे focus होगा वगैरह वगैरह, and 18% से collection भी आएगा। अगर वो 5% हो जाता है hypothetically तो collection भी कुछ तो आएगा। even after knowing what do you think is letting them not lower the slab, or it is can it be, say, and I'm just making it up, say the tuition category of 18%, that private tuitions charge 18%, they will start demanding that how come sports has been prioritized over tuitions or academics?
Yeah,
Can
could
that
be.
reason?
Could be. A very possible reason.
It's an add-on, I feel.
But I still feel that I think we need to start looking at sports as completely different from any other industry in India. Private tuition, be it, hair cutting, क्योंकि हम इतने ज़्यादा गड्ढे में अभी कि हम इससे बिलो जा ही नहीं सकते हैं, राइट? अगर हमें ऊपर बढ़ना है तो गवर्नमेंट को इस इंडस्ट्री को प्रमोट करना पड़ेगा, इस इंडस्ट्री को इंसेंटिवाइज करना पड़ेगा कि और कोचेज आएँ और लोग स्पोर्ट्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाएं, राइट? खेलो इंडिया में कुछ शायद 600 स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर्स बनाने की बात गवर्नमेंट ने करी है, विच इज़ ग्रेट। बट अब सोचो 8000 स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर्स इंडिया में और कहाँ चाइना में 40 लाख। हम खेलो इंडिया स्कीम के थ्रू गवर्नमेंट लेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएशन पर अगर जाएंगे तो हम अगले 100 साल में भी चाइना के करीब भी नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे।
प्रॉब्लम ऑल्सो विद दीज स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर्स इज कि इनका एक्सेसिबिलिटी नहीं होता हर किसी के पास। सो ओनली आइदर you have contacts.
वो आप खेलो इंडिया की बात कर रहे हो, राइट? सो खेलो इंडिया के थ्रू जो
any other government
स्पोर्ट्स सेंटर्स, हाँ,
उसमें नॉर्मल मिडिल क्लास
एंटर नहीं कर पाता
एंटर
है।
नहीं कर पाएगा।
यस, आई एग्री।
So either
Great
it has
point.
to be
I
through
mean-
bureaucrats, contacts, or
Yeah.
First
some
of all,
XYZ bulk amount.
government
in advance.
cannot fulfill the backfill we have, matlab, the backlog we have with our sports centers. It has to be private.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a question for actually both of you, right? With the surge of AI, the boom of AI, and the panic in the general market of job losses everywhere, do you think it will create an impact in the sports industry?
I feel AI can't replace a coach. AI can definitely assist a coach. There is, of course, human touch, emotional level, emotions involved. AI cannot genuinely motivate a child. It is all data driven in the end, and there is no emotional bonding that can happen between an AI and the child, which usually happens between the kid and the coach. A lot of times we call the coach as second parent
Right.
of the child. Right? So I feel that I truly believe that AI will not replace. We will not be replacing the coach. We'll be just assisting the coach and assisting the industry overall to advance and play better and better.
Right.
All of a sudden, it looks like a very lucrative job. Yeah, Pradesh.
No, actually, you
So
know,
I'll in fact add to that. So I feel that fundamentally, we were given limbs and hands and legs to function, right? And most of the jobs, if I see today, are desk jobs where we
Right.
don't even have to use our say legs and hands and run or do any kind of physical movement that can contribute to the work,
Right.
right? We have to do it because we know that it will impact our health otherwise. So that is why we are doing it. Otherwise, that the nature of work doesn't demand. It just demands our brain to be functional. So fundamentally, also, I feel that humans were always meant to work using their brain and uh, say the hand-eye coordination. So yeah,
you know, um, in fact, what I feel is AI in general is going to lead to a lot of abundance. Of course, people are worried about their jobs, which is a genuine worry, but more importantly, I think everyone just needs to realize that with AI coming in, the productivity will increase so much that once unimaginable wealth distribution will just happen across the world. So everybody will have access to all of the material things that they need for their everyday lives, right? Which means that with more and more usage of AI, there'll be a huge increase in the time that people will have for their own well-being. Now, some people would want to utilize that time with more time with their parents, with their kids, with their partners, but a lot of people will also spend this time on sports because that gives a lot of people a lot of happiness. A lot of people today do not play sports. If you go and ask them, they'll say that I just don't have time. मैं 8 बजे घर से ऑफिस से घर वापस आया, अब मैं कहाँ खेलने जाऊँ, right? So with AI, since we'll start getting that increased amount of time, the number of people who will start playing sports in itself will increase. So I am very bullish about this industry. I genuinely feel that sports in general, छोटे छोटे tournaments होंगे, local society level tournaments होंगे, maybe city level tournaments होंगे, because लोगों के पास time इतना ज़्यादा होगा to spend on things which they love, and who doesn't love playing, right? I mean, I don't think anybody on earth can say that I don't like playing. So I think that's my take on AI and sports. I think it will just lead to huge upliftment of this industry.
No, that's a wonderful insight, I must say. I mean, hopefully we come to that.
What an amazing discussion we have had tonight. First, before concluding this podcast today, I just feel like हर गली हर चौराहे पर इस टाइप का कुछ एक डिस्कशन स्टार्ट हो स्पोर्ट्स को लेकर. आई थिंक ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो रहा है. अगर आप बैंगलोर में देखोगे तो शायद every 1.5 kilometers, every 2 kilometers आज के दिन में एक बैडमिंटन सेंटर है. which is just amazing. शायद आप ट्रैफिक में जा रहे होगे, मे बी अगर अभी तक आपने नोटिस नहीं करा है और अगर आप बैंगलोर ट्रैफिक में हो तो आप जरूर देखना, आप शायद एवरी 2 किलोमीटर आपको एक बाइक पे एक रैकेट पीछे टांगा हुआ बंदा शायद जाता हुआ दिख रहा होगा, राइट? So I think we need to have more such conversations, and there is so much that we covered in today's podcast. We started with India में sports infrastructure की कितनी कमी है. We started with the difference between US sports culture, US sports industries versus Indian sports ecosystem. हमने शायद थोड़ा चाइना को भी टच करा कि चाइना में किस तरह से सेंट्रलाइज्ड मेडल मशीन की तरह, एक फैक्ट्री की तरह वो सिस्टम काम करता है. हमने स्पोर्ट्स फेडरेशंस की बात करी आज, और कैसे वो ब्रोकन एक सिस्टम है इंडिया में जो आई थिंक इट नीड्स टू रियली चेंज एट एन अर्जेंट स्पीड. वी ऑल्सो स्पोक अबाउट GST एंड हाउ इट इज डिसइंसेंटिवाइजिंग making this sector an organized sector. We also briefly spoke about how AI can play a massive role in sports going forward. So now that we are coming to the end of this podcast, I want to ask you guys with 2 simple questions. As co-founders of Machaxi, what is your vision for 2035? For Indian sports?
Interesting question. My vision is simple. If Indian sports adoption, which is less than 1% right now, moves on and becomes 10% before the 2036 Olympics, I think that would be a massive achievement, and I hope Machaxi has a big role to play in that, and that would be something that I'll be super proud of.
Right. Okay. One last question to you, Tushar. For every child and every parent watching this podcast, what would you tell to that parent? Why send your child to play sports?
I would say let them run, let them fall, let them play. Not every child would become a champion, but they would become a good, better human.
Right.
Let them play sports. Don't just be, say, aspirational in nature. Recreational value of sports is phenomenally high compared to, say, aspirational at the moment. Sports, the child may leave sports, but the sports will never leave the child.
Right. Awesome. So with that, we will conclude the podcast today. Thank you to both of you and to viewers of this podcast. Stay tuned. We have started this Play More, Live More podcast by Machaxi to improve sports adoption in India, to talk about the grassroots sports problem, be it infrastructure related, be it coaching related, be it athlete performance related. So we'll be inviting some really nice guests coming over, including Mr. Prakash Padukone, Ms. Nisha Millet, etc. in the coming podcast series to talk more about sports. I think the more we talk about it, the more we play it, the more medals we win it. As simple as that. Thank you, everyone.